Carlos Alcaraz has kicked off 2025 with a bang, and not everyone's thrilled about it. The Spanish tennis prodigy has made headlines by confirming that he's skipping the first round of the Davis Cup, shocking fans and sparking a flurry of commentary. Alcaraz, fresh out of preseason, has decided to focus entirely on the Australian Open, saying a big nope to repping Spain against Switzerland. The timing clash between the two events, Australia's final on January 26 and the Davis Cup tie on February 1 to 2, has left the Mercian no choice but to prioritize his personal ambitions over team duty. Can you blame him? He's gunning to be the youngest player to bag all 4 Grand Slam titles, and he's not letting anything, or anyone, get in his way. Spain, though, isn't catching a break. The team's already got a laundry list of absentees, with Roberto Bautista and veteran Marcel Granollers also bailing. Granollers, at 38, has decided to save his legs for Australia and the Dallas Open, leaving David Ferrer, the team captain, with one hell of a mess to clean up. With Spain starting from scratch in the Davis Cup for the first time since 2022, Ferrer has to patch together a lineup good enough to avoid another early exit. Back in 2022, a younger Alcaraz lit up the court in his Davis Cup debut against Romania, but things are looking dicey now. Spain's current roster? Let's just say Ferrer might need a miracle, or a time machine. But let's talk about Carlitos himself. The guy's been busy, not just on the court but off it too. He's all set for Australia, tweaking his game and even getting a fresh new look to match his ambitions. Yep, he hit up a barber in Murcia, and now he's sporting a cut sharper than his backhand. Why? Well, if you're going to have every camera in the sports world pointed at you, you might as well look damn good doing it. Superstition? Maybe not. But Alcaraz isn't leaving anything to chance. Not his hair, not his racket, and certainly not his game. The tweaks to his setup aren't just cosmetic. Word is, he's added more weight to his racket and switched up his string tension to pack an even bigger punch. If his opponents thought he was a handful before, they're in for a rude awakening. The ATP calendar's already in full swing, with smaller tournaments kicking off the season, but the real action starts down under. Before he gets to Melbourne, Alcaraz will play an exhibition match against Alex de Minaur to test his mettle, but the true test will come when he steps onto the court for a 5-set battle. And let's be real, Alcaraz is carrying a big OL chip on his shoulder this year. The relentless ATP schedule is as brutal as ever, and it's clear he's not about to waste energy on events that don't directly feed into his goals. Davis Cup? Nice, but it's not a slam. Carlitos is laser-focused on proving he's the future and present of tennis, and if that means ruffling a few feathers, so be it. So, what's next for the young Spaniard? A long flight to Australia, a warm-up match or two, and then all eyes on the prize. Love him or hate him, you can't deny Alcaraz knows how to make an entrance. Whether it's his new haircut, his retooled racket, or his unapologetic focus on personal glory, one thing's for sure. The kid's not here to play nice, he's here to dominate.
The Davis Cup, huh? It's barely been a week since the champion of the first big tournament of the year lifts that shiny trophy, and bam, Spain's national team is already thrown into the chaos of the first round of this high-stakes competition. And guess what? They've got one hell of a problem on their hands. Carlos Alcaraz, the golden boy of Spanish tennis, is skipping it. Yeah, you heard right. The kid's tapping out, taking a well-earned breather after 2 grueling weeks of slugging it out on the court. Fair enough, right? Now, if Spain somehow manages to whoop Switzerland's ass and move to the next phase, things could change. There's a decent chance we'll see Carlitos back in action, ready to smash rackets and spirits alike. But for now, he's laser-focused on Melbourne, leaving the Davis Cup squad to figure out how to fill that gaping hole in their lineup. Bad news for Alcaraz's Aussie ambitions. Let's get one thing straight. Carlos Alcaraz isn't just gunning for another Grand Slam, he's aiming for the Grand Slam that will complete his career set. Winning the Australian Open would make him the youngest player ever to snag all 4 majors. That's some big Rafa Nadal energy right there. But Carlitos is out to steal that record from the Mallorcan legend himself. At just 21, the Mercian maestro already has Roland Garros, Indian Wells, and Wimbledon in the bag from 2024. All that's left is to conquer Melbourne. Sounds epic, right? Well, hold your horses, because the road ahead looks like one giant pain in the ass. Alcaraz's draw could be an absolute nightmare, with potential matchups against heavyweights like Novak Djokovic and Jannik Sinner right from the get-go. Yep, the tennis gods really love their drama. Imagine the top names in the ATP battling it out in the early rounds instead of the finals. It's like putting your dessert at the start of a meal, exciting, but kind of stressful. The potential bloodbath in Melbourne. The official draw isn't out yet, but the rumor mill is spinning faster than a Djokovic backhand. If the cards fall the wrong way, Alcaraz, Djokovic, and Sinner could all end up in the same side of the bracket. That's basically a death match disguised as a tennis tournament. Djokovic, fresh off some killer performances in Brisbane, is already looking like the guy to beat. Meanwhile, Sinner is heading to Melbourne with last year's title to defend and a serious chip on his shoulder. And then there's Alexander Zverev, the wild card of this whole circus. The German is limping into the tournament after picking up an injury during the United Cup, where Germany's hopes were crushed faster than a cheap tennis ball. Will Zverev even make it to Melbourne? If he does, he's probably not hitting the court in top form, which all but knocks him off the list of serious contenders. Alcaraz's game plan: sweat, grind, repeat. Back to Alcaraz. While Djokovic and Sinner have been flexing their muscles in warm-up events, Carlitos has been locked in beast mode. He's cranking up his training intensity, fine-tuning every detail of his game. This isn't just about hitting the gym or tweaking his racket setup, though he's doing that too. It's about preparing for absolute war. Every serve, every volley, every goddamn breath he takes is calculated to get him one step closer to that Aussie title. And let's not forget the mental game. Alcaraz knows the stakes. Winning in Melbourne isn't just about making history, it's about solidifying his spot as the new king of tennis. With Nadal out of the picture, the pressure to carry the Spanish torch is all on his shoulders. No pressure, right? Just the weight of an entire nation watching your every move. So, while Spain struggles to keep their Davis Cup dreams alive without him, Alcaraz is out there sweating bullets, prepping for a showdown down under. Whether it's Djokovic, Sinner, or some dark horse challenger standing in his way, one thing's for sure: Carlitos isn't here to mess around. He's here to win, and maybe, just maybe, shut up anyone who dares question his priorities. Buckle up, folks. January's about to get wild.
Even though the Mercian prodigy is set to make his official season debut at the Australian Open, Carlos Alcaraz isn't just sitting around twiddling his thumbs waiting for the tournament to start. Hell no. The kid's been grinding like there's no tomorrow, making damn sure he doesn't walk into Melbourne feeling rusty as hell. His preparation? Let's just say it's been intense enough to make even the most seasoned athletes break a sweat. Carlitos kicked off his preseason way back in early December, jetting off to the US for a string of exhibition matches to shake off the cobwebs before diving headfirst into hardcore training. According to his coach, the legendary Juan Carlos Ferrero, Alcaraz has been squeezing every ounce of effort out of these final days before the ATP calendar kicks into overdrive. And by the sounds of it, the guy's not leaving a single stone unturned. Ferrero's take: this kid's a beast. Ferrero recently spilled the tea on Alcaraz's insane work ethic, and let me tell you, it's the stuff of legends. Not content to rely on his freakish talent alone, Carlitos has been doubling down on both his physical conditioning and technical skills. We're talking endless drills, relentless gym sessions, and experimenting with training methods that sound more like science experiments than tennis practice. What's the goal? To squeeze every last drop of potential out of his already terrifying game. This guy doesn't stop, Ferrero said. He's always looking for ways to improve, to find that edge. That's what sets the greats apart. No lies detected there. Alcaraz's hunger for growth is exactly why he's already being whispered about in the same breath as Nadal and Djokovic. At just 20 years old, he's proving that being naturally gifted isn't enough. You've got to outwork everyone too. Sharpening the sword in exhibitions. Before he steps onto the big stage in Melbourne, Alcaraz will have 2 exhibition tournaments to fine-tune his game. These aren't just casual hit-arounds, either. They're the perfect chance to test new strategies, tweak his approach, and go toe-to-toe with some of the sport's biggest names. Sure, they won't count for rankings, but don't let that fool you. These matches are intense as hell and just as crucial for building confidence before the real battles begin. Exhibitions are like the dress rehearsals of the tennis world, relaxed enough to try out new shit, but serious enough to show you where you stand. For Alcaraz, it's all about finding his rhythm, ironing out any kinks, and making damn sure his opponents know he's not messing around this season. After all, this isn't just a warm-up, it's the groundwork for what could be a history-making year. The Carlitos formula. Talent plus grit equals greatness. What's wild about Alcaraz is that he's not just some kid who lucked out with a wicked forehand and a killer serve. Nope, this guy's a machine. He's constantly evolving, fine-tuning every part of his game to stay ahead of the pack. Talent might get you noticed, but it's hard work that keeps you at the top, and Carlitos is proof of that. At just 20, he's already a shining example of what happens when you combine raw skill with an unrelenting drive to be better. While some players might coast on their natural ability, Alcaraz is out here sweating buckets, grinding through endless training sessions, and experimenting with every damn thing he can to get even the tiniest edge. That's not just dedication, that's obsession. And honestly, it's the kind of obsession that makes champions. Join the ride with Tennis Extra. If you're as hyped as we are about Alcaraz and the upcoming season, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash the like. Here at Tennis Extra, we're all about bringing you the juiciest analysis, exclusive interviews, and in-depth coverage of everything tennis. Whether it's breaking down epic matches, diving into players' strategies, or spilling the hottest tea from the circuit, we've got you covered. So, what are you waiting for? Join the Tennis Extra family and be part of the action as we follow Carlitos and the rest of the tennis elite through the highs, lows, and WTF moments of the season. It's going to be one hell of a ride, and trust us, you don't want to miss it.